Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, viewers. I'm 21st Century Cat.
And I'm Babs.
Last night we saw Tron.
Yes, we did.
That's your cue to say that tonight.
Well, you didn't tell me that. But tonight,
I thought it was obvious.
we saw Tron Legacy.
That's the music. I did think it was obvious though. Come on. Last night we saw Tron Legacy.
That's sidekick.
Tonight, viewers, we saw Tron Legacy, and it was quite interesting to have seen Tron last night. First off, Babs, what were your thoughts about Tron last night? I mean, the fact, probably like me, you've probably not seen it for the best part of 20 years.
More than that, really. I think I only saw it a couple of times when I was a kid. So when I was at 8.
Right.
And we watched it last night. I just don't remember it being like that. It just...
In what way? So bad?
No.
You can't say that. You can't say it was bad.
It was a good film, but from being a kid, I just remember it being really exciting and lots of games and lots of stuff going on. Whereas when we watched it last night, it was a good film, but it just seemed quite slow. But I guess that's just the fact that since I was between being 8 and now, there's been the whole, games and computer.
You made quite an interesting point. You said that like last night we saw
explosion.
There were the special effects, the sort of polygon, very straightforward graphics.
But
whereas tonight we saw an
cutting
advert.
edge. That was at the time. That was cutting edge, and that was, for us as kids, that was the first time we ever saw anything like that. So it was like amazing. But as I say, since then we've had the whole computer revolution and the internet, and just amazing stuff's gone on. So you can't quite see it in the same light. But yeah, you're right. When we saw Tron Legacy today, one of the adverts for Lego had much more sophisticated graphics on it than Tron did yesterday, and that's where we are. That it's just, high-level computer animation is just throwaway now. Anyone can do it for anything because it's so accessible. Whereas back then, the Tron stuff was like, wow, it was amazing.
Yeah, I guess it came quite clear that Tron has dated quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I guess the question is, would you consider Tron a classic? Because I was saying to you just earlier that The Empire Strikes Back was released in 81, Tron was released in 82. So The Empire Strikes Back is an older film. And I know I'm Star Wars biased, so sorry for that. Yeah. I am Star Wars biased, but I would still say that the Star Wars, or certainly The Empire Strikes Back, special effects hold up or stand up to closer examination today.
It's difficult to think back to what they had back then and to judge it against, today's standards or anything like that. So I think for what it was doing at the time, I think it's still a good film.
Yeah. I suppose it'll almost be like today. We're impressed with the 3D graphics of Avatar. Now imagine in 40 years where there's 3D that goes like a real even more immersive step forward, and we think, we were impressed with that. The fact that there's a bit of depth, on a screen like 200 feet.
A non-immersive movie.
Yeah.
How lame is that? You weren't even in it.
Where was the smell?
Yeah.
Where was the sort of the physicality?
Exactly, yeah. So I guess that's what we've got to look forward to.
Okay, so we've agreed that Tron, the original one from 1982, had dated. What did you think of Tron Legacy, which we saw just earlier this evening? And we've had a few beers, viewers, so apologies if we're not making a whole lot of sense.
I have to say it was really good to have watched Tron yesterday because it was not a very complex movie.
To say the least. There wasn't a whole lot of story.
But it set the scene for Tron Legacy because then you didn't expect a complex story. So I guess it was just that laid-back approach to the story with, whereas now the graphics and the, even if that's the term, I'm outdated by saying
CGI.
Graphics.
Yeah.
I've
You can say graphics. You can
let myself down by saying graphics, haven't I?
You can say graphics.
I'm so old. The CGI, the computer-generated imagery, was, state of the art. So you got that this time. You got all the immersive.
But hold on, we
imagery.
thought that of Tron in 1982. We thought it was amazing graphics.
Yeah. Well, because that's...
You can only judge it, I
have
suppose.
anything to compare it to.
You
But
can only judge it on
what I
what-
can say is, you know, visually, it looks really good, and the soundtrack is really good.
By who?
So, Daft Punk.
Right.
So,
Is that
the
an
way that it
accusation of
looks...
criticism or just the name of the band?
No. The way that it looks, the way that it sounds is really good. I mean, obviously the story is a bit thin, but then I guess if you compare it to the original story, it builds and is better than that story. So you can only build on that, really.
If
so
you've seen the first one...
overall, I enjoyed it.
Marks out of 5?
3.5.
3.5. I think that's quite fair.
Yeah.
Viewers, I've read a lot of negative reviews of Tron Legacy. Probably a lot of those people, we said this earlier, didn't we? They're probably looking to it a lot more than you probably should.
Yeah, and that's why I say context. Whereas if you watch the first Tron, it just sets the scene for you and sets the pace, so that when you watch the second one, you are aware of what pace it's going to hit and where you're going to go. And I think it just really helped to do that.
Just a final couple of points. What did you think of the young CGI Jeff Bridges?
It's just a bit weird, really. Bless them for trying, but
They just can't.
it's
do it.
reassuring to know that we still can't be fooled by a fake computer-generated image of a human being. We still know the difference.
It's quite funny just how often, whenever the young Jeff Bridges appeared in the film, that they would cut to a behind-the-head scene or from a side angle, or they'd cut to the other character. So that they were, I think they were well aware of their limitations. Do you? You know.
No, absolutely, yeah.
So
Yeah.
they gave it the best shot.
But I have to say that the Tron character...
That's my criticism. There wasn't a lot of Tron character in it, and what little there was of him, it was...
He was in it the whole way through. You just didn't notice.
Spoiler. But it's still underdeveloped,
You
you
didn't
know.
notice.
Don't want
It's
to spoil
not-
what happens,
I had
but
to point it out to you.
there was a big clue, as you said, that the character that I didn't realise was Tron did have a big T on his shirt. I should have realised that.
The big giveaway. Which one's Tron? Oh, it's the one with the big T on him. Spoiler.
Yeah. Should we cut to the music now?
Mhm.
We didn't even mention we mentioned the Daft Punk
Yeah.
soundtrack, but
Let's put some of their music on this video.
it sounded very much like Terminator 2, I thought.
Very good.
They
got that. As a choice of music, they got that very right.
Right, should we edit this video now?